So, hi, I'm Paul, and today we're going to learn how to build this mechanism. So the first thing we have to do is go to the PDF and take an image, screenshot of the drawing of the mechanism we want to build. So I just use the screen and go, for instance, to Paint. Select only the part I want. So now I have the image. And remove this. And then I have to save it. So we're going to save, for instance, as horse. Now we have to open a document in Geogebra. And first of all, we have to import the image. So edit, insert image from file or from clipboard. So we can either copy it or we can also import it from the document we have saved. Now that we have it here, we can move it, and I will put it here. Then we usually like want an horizontal line. So a useful thing to do is to, before starting anything, just set this horizontal line. So we will select this button here. There are different options. So we want a line, and we want a line that goes to this point and this total point. You have seen that now we have created here this line. We can delete it. Well, we can hide it if we click here. You can see the difference. And we can do the same with the points. And even with the picture. Right now we only need the horizontal line in the picture. So I will keep only those. So before starting also to do anything, what I like to do usually is to decide which points we're going to use from this mechanism. As you can see, this mechanism has the motor here, but it will be the same that we have the motor here, right? Because the movement from here is transmitted to here, isn't it? Then we can work assuming that the motor is here then. Then you can see that this is the crank, and that we have two mechanisms, two 4-bar mechanisms. One will be this one. This will be the first bar, second bar, and third bar. And finally, the fourth bar will be the floor. I mean the rest, the bar that joins the 2 points that are not moving, which are these two here. You can see that the center point in this circle and this point here are not moving. So we have here one 4-bar mechanism, and here we have another, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, and the 4, which will join these last 2. So we need all these points. So let's start by selecting all the points that will be useful. For instance, this one, this one, this one here, and this one here. We will also need the other points, but right now we can start with one of the mechanisms. So the first things that we have to do is, as you did in your other homework, create a slider. So we create it, slider, we put it here, and we want it to be angles. So we want the crank to rotate from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. So we create it. And then we need this crank to move something, right? So we need it to create to move the crank. So we are going to create it. So let's create it. We will need the horizontal. Oh, sorry. So first of all, we need to create an horizontal line that crosses this point here, right? So we will go here and create parallel line. We will select this line here, the point that we want this line to cross, and we have an horizontal line. Now we can create the angle that will be moved by this slider. So we select the horizontal line, for instance, and we select the point, center point. And we don't want it to be a fixed angle, but we want it to be moved by this angle here. So we select here alpha. Now, and you can see that right now we have created a point G that we can move it according to the alpha. So we want this point D here, right, to be moving. So we have to create with G, but in a lower radius. So we have to create another point that intersects the line formed by these 2 points and the circle created by these 2 points, right? So we have created the line, the circle, and we will create a point that will be the intersect of these 2. So we select the line, we select the circle, and we have seen that we have created the intersection of this line and this circle. Also this point, but we won't need this point. In fact, we will need for the other part of the mechanism, but right now we don't need it. So we can hide it, and we can hide also the horizontal line, with this line also, the horizontal line, the point G, we don't need anymore, the G prime, we don't need it either. So, and the point D, yeah, we will need it, so we will leave it for now. So we have the first 2 points that we are interested in this mechanism. So right now we can create a segment that goes from here to here, and this will be our first bar that, as you can see, is moved by the slider. So we can select the bar, we can change its properties. So we can, for instance, give it a red color and make it thicker and brighter. Okay. So now we need this other line, this other point, sorry. So this point is a difficult one because it will be moving all the time. But what we know is that it will be in a fixed distance from this point and in a fixed distance from this point. The fixed distance from this point will be given by the distance between the point E and the E. So we will create another circle, which will be a compass. So we want a circle that is defined by this distance and centered in point H. So we select it here, and you can see that when the point H and D converges, this circle crosses point E. Now we want to do the same, but centered, a compass of this distance centered at F, which is not moving, sorry. Right? Okay. So you can see also that when point H coincides with point D, these 2 circles intersect. So point D will be in the intersection of these 2 circles. So we can create this point by making the intersect of this circle and this circle. And we have seen that 2 points have been created again. We are not interested into this point, so we can unselect it, and we can also unselect these circles because we are not going to need it anymore. The same with the E, we are not going to need it anymore, and the same with the T. And now we have this point that is moving with the crank, and we can join it from here to here, and from here to here, and we have the first mechanism. We can increase the thickness, and we can also give it another color, for instance this color, and this we can give it this color and the same thickness. So now if we animate this, we can see that the first mechanism is created. But of course this is not working. Why? Because we need to prolong this line. So how are we going to do it? Stop the video. We needed point E, yeah, here. And we need to create another point here, which, because we need the distance, well, we don't need point E, sorry. We need the distance from point F to the floor, right? Which will be constant. So what we're going to do is the following. We're going to create a parallel line. We're going to extrapolate this line, first of all. So we are going to create a parallel line to this, and that crosses this point. As you can see, if we play it, this line will be moving. So now we're going to do a compass between this point and this, inserted here. As you can see, this point, which is the prolonged, the leg like extended, will be defined by the intersection of the circle and this line. So once again, we pause it and we create a point that will be the intersection, this line and this circle. And we see that we have created this point M, and this point M. We don't need the M, we don't need the line, we don't need the circle anymore, and we don't need the point L. We only need this point here. So we can create a segment again from here to here, give it the same color, not the point. I want to give it, yes, here. So the same color and the same property. And now, yes, we have created the first part of the mechanism. Okay, sorry for pausing the video. So we have already designed the first part of the mechanism. Now we're going to do the second part of the mechanism. So as you can see, the first bar of the second mechanism is in the other side of this circle. So what we want to do is pause it and create this other point in the other side. We already created it. If you remember, here when we created point H, the point I, we have it here. But in case you don't remember, we can create it again. So we hide it, and we create the line in this point, and the intersection between this line, this circle. And we create the point O that we don't need, and the point P, which is the point that we need. So we can hide the line. So as you can see, this point P is going to move accordingly. Now we pause it, and we have the same part of the second mechanism. We can give it color. So sorry. First of all, we have to create the segment. So segment that goes from here to here. We select the segment to change its properties. Yes, okay. So we can give it another color, not to the point, but to the bar. And increase its thickness. We will also need the points as in the last mechanism. I forgot to put it to put them, so we will need this point. We will also need this point here, and finally this point here. Remember, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have the first one, which is this orange bar. Now we have to do the others. So this point is going to be done the first, the same way that we did this J point. So we need to create a compass that is defined by the distance and centered here, and we will also need another distance that is defined between these 2 points and that is centered here, and we will calculate the intersection of these 2 circles. We won't need point T, so we can unselect it, and we won't only need circles because we have created the point that we want, and we can also hide point R. So finally, this will be our 4-bar mechanism. We can change the colors as we did previously. And the same that in the other part, if we need to prolong this line, we will need this point here in the floor. And then we will do a compass between these 2 points, center here, and we will prolong this line. We will calculate the intersection between this line and this circle. We are not interested into this point W. We only want this point Z. So we unselect this, also the line, the circle, and the point B because it is a static one. And we create the segment, and we give it the same property, the same colors than this one because it's prolonged. It's the same but prolonged, so same color and increased thickness, and we have done our mechanism. Okay, so right now what we have to plot, the last thing that we have to plot is the trajectories of these 2 points here. We're gonna do it using the, what was it? The locus function. So we pause the video. Oh, by the way, we don't need this point Q anymore, so we can also unselect it. Yes. So remember how we did this locus. Here there is some tip. So select the point, the locus point, and then the slider. So we select the point and the slider, and we see that we have created this locus. And the same here. We select this point on the slider, and we have also created this locus. So this is the trajectory of the final point caused by the movement of the motor. So the last thing we can do also is, you can see that right now this is not increasing. Right now it's decreasing, now increasing, then it will be decreasing. So it is oscillating. This is not the natural movement. The natural movement will be always increasing. So what we can do is select the slider and select increasing. We can also change the range of the movement and also the speed of the increasing. So if we put here 10, you can see that it will increase much faster. But right now we only will need maybe 5. Maybe even less. Let's come back to 1, which is much better. So that will be the end of this tutorial to make these two 4-bar mechanisms. Thank you for watching.